Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to the 7th hour of voting on hashtag PHvote 2013, Rappler's coverage of the elections. We're coming to you live from the Bayanihan Center in Mandaluyong, and our War Room coverage is powered by fiber. You are seeing the control center that puts together professional journalists, civic society, citizen journalists, IT professionals, artists, and many more who are trying to use technology for social change. You'll see most of what we do on www.rappler.com, but we're also a hybrid of broadcast professionals adapting to the web, and that's the coverage you're going to get from us. You'll get headlines, and in between, as we run around, you see a small team working for you. Keep us open on your browser, because in between, you'll see us putting it together when we're not giving you the headlines. You're going to hear from our editorial team, our social media team, and Move PH, which actually started before Rappler did. That is trying to harness civic society and citizen journalists. Over at Pope Pius, our technical staff is working closely with Comelec on the Rappler Mirror server. That is going to funnel results to broadcast networks, ABS-CBN, GMA7, TV5, Solar, and citizen watchdog NAMFREL. Here are the latest stories this hour. Malfunctioning ballot counting machines are reported in Zamboanga. Comelec denies reports of failure of elections, and candidates encounter problems with ballot counting machines. Carmela Fonbuena is in a key race in Pangasinan to monitor the elections there. She files this video blog on the situation in the area as voters file in to cast their votes.
We're here at Cagayan 1 Central School at the capital city of Pangasinan, where we were told former President Fidel Ramos finished elementary school. It's been some 20 minutes since the polls opened here, and it has been proceeding smoothly. We saw a Board of Election Inspector check the PCOS machine. We saw that it is empty. We saw him check the modem. There's a little bit of a problem with the thermal paper. He couldn't print the report that would say the PCOS machine is ready, but otherwise it delayed some maybe 2 minutes. The one precinct that we watched here opened around 7:02, and then there are a lot of people already. As early as 6:30 a.m. we met a couple, Mrs. Dimna and Mr. Guillermo Santos. They're about 70-year-old, and they're excited to vote.
Oh, very important. Yeah.
If we have elected the wrong candidate, then our province will be a disaster.
So I suppose this is very nice time for us to vote the right person. We'll continue to pray that those persons, I really pray before voting.
We have elected the right person.
Correct. We have elected the right persons.
Rappler will be going around Pangasinan to monitor developments here. This is Carmela Fonbuena, Rappler, Pangasinan.
In Cebu, Ai Makaraig files this vlog on the voters. Okay, we're still waiting for Ai to come in. Let me go to Paterno Esmaquiel. He has been following Comelec in the days leading to elections. We now have a report that first local media reporting that there is a failure of elections, and then Comelec stepping in to say that there are no failures of elections so far, that it's still too early in the game. Paterno, what exactly is happening?
Well, Maria, first of all, the bigger news item that just came in a while ago, there was a case of ballots, wrongly delivered ballots in Compostela Valley and Baguio. It affected 2 precincts, and Comelec Chairman Brillantes says the voters in those precincts are now effectively disenfranchised. They're losing their chance to vote, according to Brillantes. And well, Brillantes says it's very expensive to correct this error. It will cost the Comelec a few million pesos to deliver the proper ballots to those precincts. So those people will not get to vote today. Now, in another development, the Comelec says the reports of failure of elections in certain places are not authorized by the NBank. Comelec Chairman Brillantes said a while ago that if only the Comelec NBank can declare failure of elections. Earlier, we also spoke to another Comelec commissioner, Lucelito Tagle. He said that the Comelec will only declare failure of elections under extreme circumstances, and perhaps later during the day, because these reports of failure of elections came in the morning, Maria.
Interesting. But Terna, let me ask you again about the ballots that were switched, the ones in Baguio. Earlier, there were reports, it seemed like the BEI said that they could still go ahead and vote and that their votes would be counted. You're saying now that they cannot vote at all because of the mistake and because the ballots were delivered to the wrong places?
Yeah, that's right, Maria. They cannot vote because the ballots have different serial numbers, and it will be very expensive. If I recall correctly, it will cost the Comelec 5 million, according to Brillantes, to correct this problem. And the Comelec doesn't want to spend. And the ballots will not make it today anyway, says Brillantes. And another thing, he says the results, the votes from these precincts will not affect the results anyway.
Wow, it's just hard if you're voting to be a statistic. Let me ask you, there are other reports earlier today where precincts, people who were voting in precincts where the PCOS malfunctioned were asked to go ahead and fill in their votes and then they would be able to put it in manually. Is that possible? Have you heard of this?
That's a contingency plan, Maria. If the PCOS fails, if there's a malfunction, the first thing that the BI should do is to let the people continue voting, filling out the ballot, and then later on, once the PCOS is fixed, the ballots will be inserted in batches into the PCOS machine. Now, if the PCOS machine in that precinct still doesn't work, the Comelec will have to bring the ballots to another precinct, along with watchers, political parties, to ensure that there's no ballot switching. That's the contingency plan, Maria.
But Terno, we're more than halfway through the period of voting. We're in the 7th hour. What's the mood of Comelec Chair Brillantes and the others you're speaking to there? How are they gauging how elections are going?
Well, first of all, Maria, Chairman Brillantes looked irritated a while ago because he has been monitoring media and he's saying the media is blowing PCOS glitches out of proportion. He says the threshold, so to speak, for mistakes should only be 200 glitches. And well, the media, based on our own tally at Raptor, our research team provided a list, and well, there's less than 100 or a little over 100 reports on our list, Maria, and not all these reports are related to PCOS machines.
Interesting. And do you get a sense of how this compares to 2010 at the same time?
Yeah, Maria, Chairman Brillantes said a while ago that in 2010 there were around 400 glitches found in different PCOS machines. And well, yeah, we're monitoring this through our independent tally, Maria, and we will update you later once we get the bigger picture.
Okay, fantastic. That's Paterno Esmaquel. He is with Comelec. He's taking a look at the way the process is going. This is a very different process, same machines, but different process from what happened in 2010, the second automated elections in the Philippines. Thank you so much, Paterno Esmaquel. Let's go now to Cebu, where Ayu Macraig files this vlog on the voters who are casting their votes.
We're Elementary School, one of the biggest polling centers here in Cebu City. The elections are proceeding smoothly with no major problems reported with the use of the PCOS machines and the automated election system. The problem, as you can see right behind me, is the lines, the long lines. Cebuanos have been here since 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
That again in Cebu. Let's go to Cebu so you can see Cebu is the most vote-rich province in the Philippines, a key battleground. Ayu Macraig is there and she filed this report.
We're here at the Guadalupe Elementary School, one of the biggest polling centers here in Cebu City. The elections are proceeding smoothly with no major problems reported with the use of the PCOS machines and the automated election system. The problem, as you can see right behind me, is the lines, the long lines. Cebuanos have been here since 5 a.m., 6 a.m. for their turn to vote, and they have been waiting in line for hours. Adding to the delay is that some voters did not check out where their precincts exactly are before proceeding here. Cebu City Mayor Mike Rama also came here to vote. He appeals to Cebuanos to be patient, to wait it out, to be able to exercise their right to vote. His rival for the mayoral post of Cebu, Congressman Tommy Osmeña, also came here to vote. He says there should be a better system for voting, especially for senior citizens and persons with disabilities who have to wait with the rest of the people in line. There is a special lane for these people, but still, he says a better system should be in place for these people. Here's what Cebuano voters had to say.
Sana dadamihan yung PCOS machine. Kasi isang room, marami. Then maraming room na bakante. Parang sa observation ko, ang PCOS machine yung outnumber. Kulang.
Basta maayos lang ang pagkuhan mo. Pag-feed mo sa kuhan, dali ra, okay na. Walang problema sa machine. Yun ang pila lang. Kasi ang haba, cluster almost 1,000 Ang pila, siguro up to pang-kuhan pa yan, hapon.
Cebu is a key electoral battleground not just locally but also nationally. Aside from the mayoral race between Rama and Osmeña, one of the tightly contested races here is the gubernatorial race between the LP's Junjun Davide and One Cebu's Pablo John Garcia. Over the weekend, there were accusations of harassment allegedly by the police siding with the LP against One Cebu candidates and supporters. But the police and the LP deny this and say this is a sign of desperation of One Cebu. Nationally, it will also be interesting to see how Cebu will deliver for the senatorial candidates. In 2010, President Aquino and Mar Rojas won overwhelmingly here, but Vice President Jejomar Binay got the Garcias as his new allies to also deliver for his slate, the opposition United Nationalist Alliance. So will the Aquino magic work again in Cebu in 2013? That's something we will watch out for here in the province. Ayi Makaraig, Rappler, Cebu.
From the most vote-rich province, we're going to go to the second most vote-rich province, that is in Cavite, the second largest number of voters at 1.8 million. A battle that's been characterized by betrayal, shifting political alliances, and two prominent families, and a political proxy battle at the national level. We have Natasha Gutierrez on the phone with us. Natasha, what's the latest from Cavite?
Hi, Maria. Well, Senator Bong Revilla just stepped out of his 1.5-hour meeting with several police officials from Cavite, specifically Colonel Alexander Rafael, who is the provincial director, PCOS Chief Senior Superintendent Ronaldo Mendoza, as well as Chief Inspector of the CIDG in Cavite, Ronaldo Magdaluyo. Now, these three people came here to speak to Senator Bong Revilla and ask him for a waiver to search his property for these alleged firearms that he supposedly owns. Now, earlier we reported that they were actually or had already obtained a search warrant, but these men came in as guests of Senator Revilla to try to talk to him and to just sign a waiver to allow the search, but they didn't have to bring the search warrant. Now, Senator Revilla said he did not sign this waiver and he doesn't plan to sign this waiver, although he did agree to a walkthrough with these policemen. So they walked through the house, the media was not allowed inside, and he came out and said they did not find anything. There were no firearms here. Now, we are not sure if the police will come back this time with a search warrant, at which point Senator Revilla may be forced to let them in. However, Senator Revilla is definitely hesitant about letting anybody in because he says they have no basis whatsoever for searching his house, his vehicles, and for firearms that he doesn't own.
Natasha, what is the mood there right now? I mean, how would you describe it?
Well, aside from the rain, it's very somber. You could feel the tiredness in the voice of Senator Revilla. He's obviously frustrated. He told us that this is clearly election-related, and we asked him what he thinks the objective of the other side is. He said that, at this point, they should really be monitoring ourselves But instead, this is happening. Instead, they have to deal with this instead of being able to watch, and make sure that the votes of his son are safe. So that's what he thinks is happening here. Clearly, the mood here is very low, very disappointed, very somber, and the rain doesn't help. And it's pretty unexpected because they don't know if the cops will come back, and he'll just be waiting here. And you can see how tense his face is when you see him and you speak to him. And he's just clearly frustrated, and so is his family. You can see Representative Leni Robredo walking around, clearly upset, as well as the son Cholo, who is their candidate for vice governor.
How would you describe the way elections are going now in Cavite? How is it going?
Well, from reports, it seems that it's going smoothly so far. There are several reports of PCOS machines not working in specific towns. We have not confirmed this yet. However, despite rains, there are people coming out to vote. Again, as we mentioned, this is a very hot gubernatorial race, and that has been a reason for why voters are coming out really to try to get their ballots in. So outside of the Bacoor House, things are going smoothly so far. There have not been any news reports of other sorts of harassment or major problems. This is the big story here in Cavite, and we don't even know if it will be resolved anytime soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Natasha Gutierrez. We're going to come back to you to keep track of that. Also, Cavite had numerous incidents of violence in the 2010 elections. We're watching closely. We'll go back to Cavite in a short while. There are reports of malfunctioning PCOS machines and election violations in precincts in Zamboanga City. Incoming voters were seen bringing sample ballots with them as they enter the polls. These sample ballots were distributed by unidentified people outside the school. At least 19 PCOS machines are reported to be malfunctioning in Zamboanga City. Voters were asked to leave behind their ballots without feeding them into the machines. We'll go to Vice President Jejomar Binay, Cynthia Villar, Risa Hontiveros, Fidel Ramos, and Leni Robredo all encounter problems with the PCOS machines. Binay's ballot was not accepted by the PCOS machine in San Antonio High School, Makati, when he first inserted it. In Pangasinan, former President Fidel Ramos had to wait for an hour because the PCOS machine malfunctioned. Liberal Party senatorial candidate Cynthia Villar had to wait for 20 minutes before her ballot could be fed into the PCOS machine in Las Piñas Science High School. Risa Hontiveros says the PCOS in her clustered precinct in Quezon City also malfunctioned. She said it would stop after every 3 ballots. Leni Robredo had to wait before she could cast her vote at the Tabuco Central School because the memory card temporarily didn't work. Up to 96 polling precincts have not received their ballot counting machines, memory cards, and other election materials, delaying the voting process. The Commission on Elections earlier sent these areas election materials for repair. Poll body says voters should continue filling out ballots. Once the machines arrive, election inspectors will then feed the ballots in batches.
Mga precincts na may mga technical problems ng precincts ng PCOS, nag-start na rin sila sa voting nila. That's as part of the continuity plan. Now, after na maayos na yung PCOS machine, then that will be the time na magbabatch feeding sa PCOS machine.
Let's go to Nicole Curata with us now. She's UP professor. Nicole is also handling a huge election project right now. Tell me, we just saw reports from Cebu, the vote-rich province, and Cavite. Are these expected? How would you talk about these in the context of Philippine elections?
Well, 2 things. First is Cebu and Cavite are among the fastest growing cities economically. So in a way, these kind of traditional way of politics where a lot of violence is involved does not really have space for any modern city. So I think this is one indication that if they do want to be the hot spots for economic growth in the future, this cannot happen for long. The other thing is that one of the way they pitched the 2013 election is that it's really just the practice for the 2016 elections. And this is not a surprise. That's why it's these are battleground cities and provinces, primarily because it's a way of consolidating forces for 2016. It's very interesting that UNA held their first rally in Cebu, right? Because it's a big statement that they do want to win in that province come 2016. So in a way, we can say it's a proxy war also for what will happen next.
Cavite seems archaic, you know, and you have national politics pulled into it because of the families that are there.
Right.
Even in 2010, when I was watching it, it seemed, you know, I wondered why it continues the way it is. It's good to hear you say that it can't continue longer, but what keeps it that way, and what are the forces that will help it move to a more progressive environment for elections?
Yeah, you're right. Cavite is very tricky because the traditional argument for instigating change is you need to wait for that next generation of leaders that's, you know, highly educated, that's progressive and willing to break that cycle of violence. But in a way, based on your reports, it doesn't feel like that's what's happening. There are a lot of young candidates in Cavite right now, right? Running for vice mayor in particular.
Yes.
But we don't see that change. So it's hard to find that space where it's going to happen. So I don't know, maybe this is one area where optimism is quite misplaced, although a lot of vigilance is still necessary.
I'm going to jump from that to party politics.
Right.
Do we have a political party system, and what do these elections show us about that?
No, we don't have parties, we have teams. At best, that's what we have in this election. Also interesting in this election is that if you look at Team Pinoy, these are exactly the same forces that are fighting each other in 2010.
Correct.
The argument is they're now willing to coordinate with each other because they all support the president's reform agenda. But if we try to unpack that, well, which part of the president's reform agenda do you support? Because a lot of these matrices have been circulating online on what these candidates' votes are in terms of RH, syntax, cybercrime, and we can definitely see the inconsistencies with all of these votes. So where do they stand, right? But there's one issue where all candidates unite, and that is FOI, right?
Yes.
So all
the
candidates,
one that didn't pass.
Exactly. Actually, there are two, not just FOI, but dynasties. A lot of them have also publicly said that they want this legislated. So in a way, it doesn't even require parties to toe that line, right? It requires pressure from the electorate for them to make a stand on these particular issues.
But can you separate the election rhetoric from the reality? Because if you even talking about political dynasty, that has the IRR just needed to be done, and then in terms of the FOI, they certainly had the chance to vote on it if they wanted to. So where's the rhetoric, and where's reality?
Yeah, that's true. Although, to be fair to a lot of candidates, those who expressed support for the FOI, some of them are actually the very same people that filed the bill in support of FOI. So give credit where credit is due. That's Gringo Honasan, Lauren Legarda, Sonny Trillanes. These guys have been fighting for the FOI, and I think the Senate wasn't really the problem for that issue. It was the Congress where it failed to pass.
Correct.
But the dynasties is a different thing altogether. We don't know if this is rhetoric or not.
It's interesting that the dynasties popped up in these elections, right? Why these elections? I mean, we've had in all the previous elections I've covered, it's always brought up because it's a constant, but not to the degree. If you look at this one, it seemed issue bereft, except for the dynasties.
Right.
Is that correct?
I think so. One reason for that is because it's reality's way of reinforcing itself. It is really true. I did a study on the characteristics of first-time senators that won in 2010. So these are not incumbents. These are not the guys that have previously won a national post. These are first-time winners of a national post. And the main similarity with them is that all of them are sons of parents who have held a national post.
Correct.
So it takes a former Senate President Pimentel to have Coco Pimentel there, although there was a glitch with Vic Zubiri. It takes a President Marcos, for example, to be a first-time senator to have Bongbong Marcos there. So in a way, we've seen the peak of dynastic politics. And this elections is really just a continuation of that peak, because we will be hard-pressed to find a winning candidate, at least as far as the surveys are concerned, that have no dynastic links. So I don't think it's not because there's a hype, it's not because it's just one of those interesting things we can talk about, it's because it's there. It's reality staring us in the face in the form of a ballot.
And they're third generation now that we're coming up, no?
Exactly.
Do you see this? Is this earlier? We were talking with other political scientists who were talking about changing it, and the only way to change it is actually to change the structure of the system. Do you agree? Do you think this can be changed? How?
Right. Well, yeah, that's very difficult to answer because the political science perspective would definitely say we need to change the institutions because if you have that particular institutional mold, then the software will follow. However, sociologists like myself would tend to say that there are also patterns of behavior that are difficult to break, and we have been parachuted with this system called democracy by the Americans. And we didn't necessarily fit in that mold of a liberal democracy that America wanted us to have, right?
Yes.
So institutional change, yes, that's important, but the software has to be there. The socialization of citizens also has to be there, but the socialization of the politicians also has to
correct.
be there. So the common argument there would be it has to be the pressure from the grassroots that's trying to influence the behavior of the politicians. One example would be the RH bill. We were able to pass an RH bill in a dynastic Congress, in a dynastic Senate.
After 14 years.
After 14 years, right? So I don't think that would have happened if the pressure was not present. So I am really banking a lot on the efforts by grassroots movements that even if we still have that dynastic composition of our legislature, then we can socialize these politicians to become accountable to us.
Is there many of the politicians in power right now are talking about low-hanging fruit, that this is a time of opportunity.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, to a certain extent. This is a good opportunity. I think the momentum is on our side. We get a lot of pats on the back with all of these investment ratings, the better performance in the corruption perception index. It's true, although there is also that guarded caution of what happens after 2016. Because the issue now is sustainability, right? That is why I think this campaign is framed in terms of the UNA versus Team Pinoy vision. Team Pinoy saying that we have to carry on with the Ang Matuwid and it has to be consistent after 2016. UNA has a counter-rhetoric to that, even though they say that they're a friendly opposition. The counter-rhetoric is the Ang Matuwid has to be the Ang Maganda or the Ang Malinis, and they have all of these sorts of rhetoric.
Which led to really a shifting image for UNA, right? That may not have worked as well for them as they could have. Although it's very hard to run as opposition to an extremely popular president.
But we also have an extremely popular vice president, right? So
That's
that
true.
makes it really interesting. Yeah.
So, do you believe in the surveys?
As a social scientist, I think I generally believe in the surveys. What matters is how we read these surveys. For example, a lot of survey firms would say that this is the particular margin of error. So for example, if you look at the breakdown of the survey according to regions, then maybe we shouldn't really be very trusting of these rankings because the margin of error is pretty high. And the survey firms say that themselves. But on the more national level, I tend to believe what these surveys say because they explain the methodology anyway, they explain the sampling procedure. But I think as a citizen, what I would have loved to hear from the survey firms is the ethics and the conduct of how the survey was made. They could have been more transparent with a lot of things.
The actual polling themselves, the group that did it. Okay, well, let me run and toss it to Move PH, which actually is taking citizen journalists, taking them through a period of training. Zach Yuson. Zach, what do you have? What are you working on?
We're just focusing on a couple of stories right now. I'll pull up one. OAVs, or the overseas absentee voters, are flocking to polling precincts. Actually, they've been flocking since April 13. So today is the last day that they can vote, and some of them have already sent in their ballots through the mail or through electronic voting, like we have, only in two places though, in Singapore and Hong Kong. The Comelec expects up to 60% of about 700,000 or 730,000 votes to come in. So that's a pretty significant number if you think about the time and the effort it takes to go to a polling precinct, which is located in only one place in one country, or maybe one or two places in the consulate. We want to show a couple of tweets. From this one from Michael Tan. He just voted in Washington, D.C. Over in Don Tagala, who was a former reporter for ABS-CBN. He voted all the way in New York. And Jude Abarquez, who voted, I'm not sure where this is. Seems to be in some Middle East or Indonesian country. So those are the votes that have come in, or the tweets that have come in. I myself was an overseas voter for the first time in 2010, and I can tell you that it really is a special feeling when you can actually participate in your country's elections, even while you're away. Now, moving on to Cagayan de Oro, one of our movers, his name is Gian, what's his name? Gian Libot, is actually in Cagayan, and he reported some technical difficulties with the PCOS machines over there. Gian, how are you doing in Cagayan de Oro?
Hi, I'm in the NAMFRO headquarters right now in the CDO operations, and as of this late, there are already 17 reported PCOS machines that have malfunctioned, and as of this late as well, most of these have been resolved except for the 8 that are remaining. I think the most important incident right now is the PCOS machine that malfunctioned in Mogs. It's an elementary school within the city. I think the replacement, according to Comelec, will arrive reportedly at around 9 p.m. So there's still some questions whether or not that voting might still push through. As of the reports that are coming in, according to them, they're still continuing the voting, but questions on how the votes will be counted would still be updated later on.
Now, Gian, I understand you had some difficulty or problems trying to get in the polling precinct and find out what's going on. Can you tell us the story behind that?
There's really not much difficulty in terms of like accessing the polling precincts. I think that the biggest concern would be a while ago when I visited the City Central, there was an issue with the crowd getting frustrated with how some of the precincts started out late. Mm-hmm. So that caused a bit of a commotion where the police had to step in and also intervene within that situation. But otherwise, that was also resolved as well.
I see. And what's the mood there now in the area that you're in?
As of late right now, everybody's fine, except for the reported 17 PCOS machines out of the 360 that CDO is counting on. So that's less than 10%. Hopefully that gets resolved within the day.
Thank you very much, Gian. Maria?
All right.
Zach, anything else from Move this hour?
Well, just an interesting story actually. This was tweeted to us by Faye Salas from Ilocos, and she writes, two lolas, both at 93, living in some barangays, seeing each other only during the elections. So, there's a lighter side. Not all lighter sides have to go to Josh. Move has a lighter side as well.
Very nice, Zach. Thank you so much. We're going to go back to you in a short while. Let's go back to Nicole Curata, UP professor and convener of UP's Election Watchdog. Nicole, let me ask you about the way these campaigns ran. How would you grade it?
Oh no, yeah. Now if I have to grade it, I have to come up with a standard of what a good campaign is or what is not a good campaign. Yeah, but it's very interesting. It's always a combination of traditional and modern campaigning. The modern campaigning obviously has to do with the social media, and it has opened up a very good platform to engage actually with citizens. So I think that's a good thing, although as we've mentioned earlier, we also have to be careful about the inaccessibility of social media for a lot of people. One of the interesting things also are the popularity of debates, right?
Yes.
Rappler did one debate. I was
Yes.
part of the audience.
Thank
I voted
you
in
so
the
much.
mood meter.
Yes.
I really tried to be objective with my emotions and tried to be really rational with candidates. And the debates are very popular, and what we did in UP was that as teachers, we did an attendance check. So we tallied the debate attendance of all of these candidates. We had 11 debates overall, and we see that there is an inverse relationship between the survey ranking and the debate attendance.
Wow,
so it's
great.
really frustrating because, of course, an argument can be made, and one of my colleagues made this argument that it's because debates don't matter. If you're already
I'm sorry,
ranking,
I misunderstood. Yeah.
if you're already ranking well in the surveys, then
it.
you won't do a
You won't
debate
need to.
anymore. You don't need to. But of course, the need to is also different from the should, right? The ethical responsibility of a candidate to put himself or herself out there and explain her position is also very important. And in our website, that's actually one of the infographic that had the most traffic and had the most tweets, mostly about the disapproval of candidates, or one candidate in particular that failed to show in any debate. So for us, I think we always complain that campaigns are not intelligent enough. We don't have enough engagement with our candidates, and platforms are given to them, and they don't take that opportunity. So regardless whether it helps with your campaign or not, I think all candidates have that ethical obligation to participate in the debate.
Some of the candidates, though, will say that it's skewed towards those more articulate, not necessarily with the ability to legislate, but the ability to speak. How do you make up for things like that?
But a lot of legislation is also articulation.
And convincing people.
And convincing people, persuading others. And I would probably understand that if, for example, the position is for mayor, because you have to be effective, maybe, articulation is not as important as being effective and being organized. But if you have to be a senator, and a huge part of it is deliberation and debate, then we have to see that you have the skills for that. It's just like interviewing someone for a job, and you want to make sure that that person has the corresponding skill set for that job, right? So, yeah, for me, it matters a lot.
Fantastic. Let me go back to Zach. Zach, you have something else from Move?
Yes, we have another mover who just called in. His name is Derek Albiola. He's now in Laguna. Derek, how's the situation over there?
Yes, Zach, it's raining now here in the capital town of Santa Cruz, Laguna, but still many people here are very determined to count their votes in. I am particularly stationed here in Santa Cruz Central Elementary School, where in around 9:30 in the morning, we saw Congressman Egay San Luis of the Liberal Party casting his vote together with some of his supporters. San Luis is the challenger of incumbent Governor E.R. Ejercito of UNA. San Luis voted an hour after Governor E.R. Caceres' vote in Francisco Benitez Memorial School in Pagsanan, Laguna. In an interview, San Luis said that he is looking forward for a clean and honest election and that hopefully the rightful presidential office in the capital. Meanwhile, the atmosphere here in San Luis is very much peaceful. People are properly lining up in their assigned areas, and it is not as crowded as compared to other polling precincts located in the major cities of Laguna. The only problem I saw was that there are groups of children distributing sample ballots in the gate of the polling precincts this morning. I've also talked to a group of senior citizens, and they shared to me that it was relatively easy to vote in Santa Cruz because they were properly assisted by local Comelec officials. There is no incidence of major problem here in the capital town as polling started exactly 7 in the morning. The only delays encountered happened when PCOS machines reject ballots that were not clearly marked. One board of election inspector remarked that they had to put the ballot 4 times before it gets accepted. The case here in Santa Cruz is very different from the case of Alaminos, particularly in Barangay Santissima located west of San Pablo City, as election there was temporarily cancelled because of a malfunction in the PCOS machine. Local Comelec officials have already requested some of the voters to return in the meantime as they are still fixing the problem device. We have also talked to Laguna Police Superintendent Sergio Manacbo this morning, wherein he shared to us that so far only one incident of election-related crime has been confirmed in the entire province of Laguna since the election season kicked off. Also, the police officer revealed that even if Laguna is not identified as an election hotspot, still, additional police have been deployed in all of the 4 districts of Laguna since May 4 to ensure a peaceful and orderly conduct of the election within the province. Zach?
Yeah, Derek, let me just ask you, the Laguna campaign kind of drew national attention because the president endorsed the rival of the current governor. Do you think that had any impact on the way people are going to vote? And especially because the governor right now is pretty popular.
If you're going to look at the list of our incumbent mayors, they are basically allied to the Liberal Party, but still, Governor E.R. is a strong contender. I have personally attended one of his caucuses, last caucus in his hometown, and he gathered thousands of supporters in the area. The same thing applies in other towns, in other provincial towns, but of course in Santa Cruz, here in Santa Cruz, it's different because this is a bailiwick of San Luis.
Okay, thank you very much, Derek Albiola in Laguna. Maria?
Thanks, Zach. Let's go back. Nicole, you were talking about the debates. Basically, how do you win elections in the Philippines today? So you mentioned debate. Is it still, how far away have we moved from guns, goons, and gold?
Well, based on that previous report, it doesn't feel like we have moved so far. Although, of course, there are several victories, I think, that we can claim.
Please?
One of these victories, I think, is the Rappler debate is a good example because there are a lot of debates that claim to be debates but are not exactly debates. Rappler did a good job in matching candidates and just really seeing their differences in particular issues. So I hope.
But what's interesting is only one candidate went head-to-head.
No.
Values, sociology.
I think it's also because they don't really disagree on a lot of things. The party lines aren't so clear. Like, for example, I would have wanted to see healthcare, for example, is a very important issue. And there are very clear preferences of candidates when it comes to healthcare. Some candidates are for privatizing hospitals for efficiency. Others want to have a universal healthcare that is run by the government. That could have been a very intense topic for discussion among different candidates, but it doesn't feel like we've had enough discourse on the level of issues. And I suppose it's very difficult to do that. Unlike in the US, where the first debate is about economic policy, next is foreign policy, and then the third is
This
domestic
connects,
issues.
though, with the sociology of Filipinos.
Yeah.
This society seems far more personalistic,
Yeah.
which also leads to the increased levels of violence. I
Yeah.
mean, do you see that? So do you see that perhaps professionalizing
Right.
our politics? Is this something, how do you see something like this happening?
Yeah, that question is very challenging because on one hand, there are a lot of studies that say what we look for a candidate is the same thing we look for journalists. Can I trust this person? Is this not even just trust, but is this person approachable? Malalapitan ko ba siya? That I think is a very distinct Filipino requirement, that there has to be some personal connection. But apart from that, beneath that kilala ko ba siya is the level of trust and the level of sincerity a candidate has to put forward. That is why a lot of candidates still resort to the traditional personalistic approach, because that is cultural. But on the other hand, when we say we have to professionalize politics, we also have to question the other extreme of that. Because if we talk about the American elections, for example, it has become extremely professionalized to the point that you don't know what's true anymore
Yes.
and what is being run by spin doctors. So I
Yes.
think a balance of both personal and professional is more necessary rather than just going all out personal and running campaigns.
I have a lot more questions, but we are out of time. We're going to come back with Nicole Curata, UP professor and convener of UP's Election Watchdog. Let's go again to this hour's headlines. Malfunctioning ballot counting machines are reported in Zamboanga. Comelec denies reports of failure of elections, and candidates encounter problems with ballot counting machines. We'll be back with you in a short while. Stay with us and watch while we gather the news for the top of the next hour. Keep us open on your browser. And remember, refresh. Talk to Rappler.com on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter. Use the hashtag PHvote. Rappler's coverage of today's elections continues. You know my follow-up.